Hey Wanderers, next episode we'll be back in Corsairs, so thanks for joining us this arc in Wanderlust. As always, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, and if you're enjoying our podcast, please consider leaving a review wherever you listen to us. Now, let's finish the Trials of the Forest in this latest episode. Last time on Wanderlust. This woman who was kind of clambering towards you stops and just sort of sways. And as she stands there, you just hear her mumbling under her breath, quiet words. You start chopping at these mossy tendrils that start forming up your leg, but you look over and see Fred just get drug off his feet away towards the witch, who is, I'm just gonna say, is a witch. We can just call her a witch. As you hear a shrill cackle and that string of mumbled nonsense begins to be muffled by the moss growing over your ears as you feel yourself lift off the ground.
Juliet is in extreme pain. She is lying on the ground.
And you find just a little cocoon dangling there. And you're just staring at it. And then a moth comes out. And then it's sort of like that dream thing where like a moth emerges from it and just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You feel a soft, like, hairy insect hand brush against your cheek and a quiet voice go, "They're not done yet, but I'm waiting."
I'm not the one who handcuffed himself to me.
You shout that out and it just echoes into nothingness. And you see a spindly woman with long, thin hair and almost like a marionette is dancing her fingers in the air. And you see the vague shadow of Mitchell wandering, confused, mumbling to himself as she floats just beside him, whispering.
And I'm gonna say she's gonna knife throw it at that woman.
You wandered through the fog, totally lost, your mind constantly playing tricks on you until now you're in this claustrophobic little tunnel leading down towards a cauldron.
You will make a fine supper!
Can I drop a rock on the witch?
Ooh, I don't hate the idea of pushing a rock on a witch.
Yeah, I'm gonna go rush over to help Fred, and I'm gonna try to stab the witch.
She dies, and Fred slumps on the ground.
So I've got Hector and Fred down. I've got Mitchell and Maul, I assume, in
Bags.
Yep. And I've got Juliet.
Like 20 feet up.
20 feet up.
Throwing rocks down.
Not anymore. She's just laying there.
You did well. It is time to go. And you feel hands wrap around you and wings beat as you're lifted off the ground.
Where are we going? Are we going back home?
Back to Estelle. Autumn. Where we left you, you were attempting to tear at a soft, giving, encompassing, sort of like blankety material that was wrapped all around you as you saw your hands turning to wood.
Turning to wood or were wood?
Were, I think. It's like your arms had changed now as you looked at them, right?
Okay.
That experience goes on for an unimaginable amount of time. It's one of those things where, alone in an uncomfortable place, how long does 30 minutes feel? how long does an hour feel? But to you, every time you moved your arms, you felt the movements grow clumsier and slower. You felt your chest move a little less with every breath. Your last waking thought was your hand resting in to this soft, blankety material like a dry cotton and affixing in place, unable to move it anymore, as it seamlessly blended in to the closing walls all around you. Your vision narrows and narrows and narrows as you start to lose touch with where your body is. You're still aware, but where your hands are is a sense that we kind of have, and you start to lose that. Where your feet are, the feeling of breath leaving your body, and any knowledge of your body at all fading away as your mind floats in just consciousness. Eventually, in this darkness, images start to bleed up into your eyes, for lack of a better term. You can start to see things around you. At first, this is maybe a pleasant experience. You look out and see Willow standing in a field. It's a grassy meadow, one that maybe at this point has been familiar. You've seen these areas where trees have died out. And you see her standing there. She looks beautiful to you. She's in a dress, the wind's blowing. It's maybe a beautiful autumnal day as, the rustling reeds and grass are whispering in the breeze, and you see her standing out there. And you feel like you're coming back into your body as you walk towards her. What do you do?
I go up and I hug her.
She hugs you back and leans her lips close to your ear and whispers, "I think I'm right where I want to be." And she embraces you close as you hear snarling around you.
Oh, I'm so stressed, Cody. How aware am I of what happened? Like, is this still, do I feel like I woke up from a dream and
check your hands.
That's not a bad idea. Do I look wooden?
You look down at your hands, they look totally normal.
Do I remember everything that happened up to this point, or is it kind of do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah.
Do I remember being in the cocoon?
Yeah, I guess, try to describe how a dream starts when you are in a dream.
Okay.
That's how you remember getting to the field. Try to describe what you were doing before the dream. You could probably describe it. There's a gray area here of mixed consciousness.
Okay.
But you can remember going into the forest to try to save Willow. You know who Willow is.
Right, no.
You do not remember getting to this field.
Okay. I just want to know where I'm if I'm oh, I'm shocked, I'm normal, or if it's no, this is normal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look around to see what's snarling.
Cool. As you look around, this meadow is surrounded by ancient-looking trees, their boughs hunched over, almost dragging on the ground. The trees themselves almost seem to shift slightly as you try to get a fix on any solid landmark. It feels a little bit dizzying to look out at this faintly moving, shimmering forest. But low down in the shadows of these trees, you see movement. At first, it's just a paw, an arm, and then eyes. As in ever, constricting circles, you see creatures pouring from the forest. They remind you of large cats, their bodies lined with tough-looking plates of bark, interwoven with thick green tendons, their eyes a murky green. They have huge wooden antlers growing from their heads and sharp teeth as they prowl ever closer. Willow looks around at all of this and smiles. She leans and puts her head on your shoulder and goes, "I am exactly where I want to be."
Maybe we should get out of danger? These things don't look kind.
Willow looks out and smiles and goes, "Well, they are not kind, and they don't..." She pauses and goes, "They don't look kind, and probably we are in danger, but do you want to leave?
I want to keep you safe.
She smiles and slips her hand into yours and goes, I know that. This circle of, these predators are still kind of constricting. Now at this point, maybe only 10 yards away. They're no longer rushing or moving quickly. It feels like every single one of them is trying to find a back, somewhere where their eyes aren't looking. You can feel your hackles rising as you know, deep in your bones, something's coming. You feel Willow's hand tighten in yours as she looks at these creatures. How exactly do you plan on getting out of danger?
This is usually where I improvise.
Hey, like I said, watching you do things can be kind of fun for me.
Yeah, but it's a lot less fun for me when you're standing very exposed like this. And you said there's like trees over in the distance,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. Like it's like flat-ish. Otherwise,
yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I have a good picture for what I want to do. How far is the nearest tree that you could climb feasibly?
That is a great question. You could run it, like, it's not close, but...
It's an amount of effort away?
Yeah, and there is circling monsters between you and that.
Right.
Like, regardless of the distance. You could maybe throw a rock that far. You can't throw a willow that far.
It was more, is running feasible is what I am asking.
Well, sure. Like, yeah, I mean, you could easily run a mile, so...
I think it's probably a roll
I know. I'm just
through it's a roll's distance away,
Oh, all right, so... I think I would like to get out of here, but with you?
I wouldn't imagine you'd leave me here to be dinner.
Right, good. I appreciate your judge of my character being very accurate. And I'm gonna need you to put these on. And Autumn takes off her grapple gloves and gives them to Willow.
Willow goes, oh, a gift? I didn't get you anything.
You can just climb that tree as fast as you can, and we'll call it even. So... I will block these things so you can get up the tree, and then I will follow right behind you.
She leans in and gives you a kiss on the cheek and goes, lead the way.
All right, can I try to clear a path so that she can run to the tree?
Yes, make me a roll.
I'm assuming athletics.
Yeah, that works.
That will be a 6.
Okay. So you and Willow start running, and as soon as you move, these 3 creatures immediately give chase, right? Like, you wait for there to be the best gap you can find and start running, and immediately converging. They're low to the ground. They move unbelievably fast. You see one of them leap, sharp claws whistling through the air, straight at Willow, as you, quickly swing your arm up to do a jab. As soon as you do, you can feel an unbelievable amount of strength as you look and can not just know, but, feel exactly where this thing's heart is and where you could hit its ribs to drive bones into that heart. How do you hit this?
I think that scares her, and she hits it normal, like how she normally would.
Gotcha. When your arm swings up, right, you have that extra sense of how to do this in the most deadly way you could imagine. And as your arm blurs through the air, you can see, similar to what they have growing on them, these plates and patches of hard stone-like wood pop up on your arm as you swing and miss, colliding with maybe its back leg, knocking it off balance as it tumbles onto the ground. Willow sprints off towards the trees, and you see her climbing up as you're backing your way towards the trees. Now 2 of these things approaching you, hunched low, predatory glints in their eyes as you hear Willow scurry to the top of the tree and shout down, "You promised you'd follow."
So Autumn pauses for a second, and then, right, in a fighting stance, ready to punch, and then, thinks, and then drops her arms and tries to climb the tree.
As soon as you do, you get a couple feet up the tree, and then you can, feel claws at your heels. Not catching skin, but it's, scrapes your boot, and you look down, and clearly these half-tree, half-cats are not great at climbing, but they're making an effort, right? You see them, scrabbling up, then slipping down, their claws finding purchase as they try to, hit lower branches as you and Willow climb your way higher and higher into, narrow and narrow branches of this tree.
So I don't think this counts as our normal date.
Well, I think it's normal for you, and I think that's acceptable, you know. What do I expect from a normal date with you?
A good time?
Yeah, that's fair. That's actually a fair point.
So, I'm not sure what we do now. This is usually the part where Estelle does some weird trick with animals, or Juliet knows some weird fact that helps us out.
Well, I can make a radio show that cats might like.
I'd listen to it, but I'd listen to anything you say, so...
But it would hopefully be terrible for you. It would just be meow sounds. I mean, but it would just be meows.
I don't think you can make a terrible broadcast.
I am going to prove you wrong on that. And as you say that, you look down and a branch snaps, and it was the one right below the branch you and Willow are sitting on. And this cat falls back, trying to catch branches as it goes, and manages to find purchase halfway up the tree, and starts that climb again, claws digging into the flesh of this tree as you see it coated in sap and needles and leaves sticking to its fur as it climbs ever closer to you.
Do you want to climb a little higher?
Willow looks up at the now willowy thin branches above you. You're about tapped out on climbing.
Well, that makes it more difficult.
I could try, but I'm guessing at some point that branch is just gonna snap and I'm going to be cat food. And that would actually make this a bad date.
Yeah, I would like both of us to come away from this.
Well, you said you think of things. Think of things.
Oh, this is hard, Cody. Willow, I'm scared that if I go down there, I won't come back.
Willow looks at you and cocks her head and goes, I think you'll come back different.
Yeah, but I don't want to come back so different that I don't come back. Does that make sense?
It does. It definitely does.
I did some stuff last time. I didn't, you were a tree? Or rooted to the ground? And I think I lost myself for a while. And then I really lost myself, in a physical sense. And I just don't... I want to make sure that I come back to you. And to everyone. I don't want to die alone.
She cocks her head to the side a little bit, clearly kind of lost in thought on what you just said. I don't think you can help almost any of those things. You already have changed pretty significantly. I think where you last left off, you were in some kind of weird tree cocoon and lost track of your entire body. I think the possibility of coming back the same has gone a long time ago, probably around the time you jumped off a magic cliff with a wolf. I think the question isn't if you're going to come back, it's how do you want to come back?
So, this whole time, I've been trying to prove to myself that I can do things and I'm not just a failure and that I have a purpose. And I think there is something to protecting the town from what is going on out here. Like, I think that is a real and true purpose. But I think I want to come back. Like, I don't want to just be someone who recklessly does things because that's what you're supposed to do. I want to actually help people and protect people and not just be a wild card.
She smiles again and goes, I think you can definitely do all of those things while being a little bit wild at times. And as she looks down again, that cat gets closer. It's now no longer jumping for branches. It's managed to, like, dig its claws in and is climbing the tree now. It's slow, and it's unpleasant to watch. She looks down at it and goes, Danger is always going to be right at the door. Autumn, I don't think we can help that. And like I said, I'm right where I want to be. You can handle danger however you want to handle danger. But I don't think the issue is that you're willing to put yourself in danger to protect others. I think that's admirable. But it's being able to balance that with more than just a willingness to be reckless. Because I think you can do that. You are very good at being reckless and it turning out okay. But then sometimes you do, tackle a wolf off a cliff.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty cool, though, right?
It wasn't not cool. Just depends on how you want to handle danger.
So, we're not dead then, are we? Last you were in Smokey Banks, I was in a Cocoon, and now we're both here? Is it really you?
Would it matter if I said yes or no? Like, is that going to... If I say no, are you going to feed me to a vicious cat?
No.
And if I say no, are you going to just jump down and start karate chopping cats in half with the knowledge that it probably won't literally kill you?
No. But it'd be nice to know that you were here with me.
Something's here with you. You'll have to ask me when you get back to Smokey Banks.
All right. She kisses Willow.
Willow kisses you back, and it's jarring in that you would expect this to maybe be desperate feeling, like her clinging to life. You'd expect Willow to maybe be afraid, but instead, it just feels like a normal, playful kiss, like you would have on the beach after having a nice meal at Surf and Turf, the best restaurant in Smokey Banks. Or not, oh my gosh, it's not Surf and Turf. It's Reef and Beef.
Surf and Turf does sound like a worse restaurant name, though. She looks at Willow. I'll be right back. Winks at her. And then can I jump and knock the cat off the tree as I fall?
Yes. Make an athletics check.
I'll be a 6.
Cool. As you fall, your hand catches the tree and you can feel yourself almost grow into it as your grip fastens like iron. You stop, and as the cat leaps one more hand up, you let go and start falling, your knee perfectly aligned between its eyes, and you know if you do that, its nose will shatter, and that spike of nose will be driven into its brain and it will die instantly. And you're like, yeah, that's right. That's where to hit it.
I think after, being reckless with the wolf and trying to kill it, and all the, things that she had to do, I think she tries to not kill it. She could land that killing blow, but she chooses not to.
Okay. So as you fall, at the last second, you straighten your leg, and instead of driving your knee, right into its brain, you wrap your arms around it and pull it off the tree. This is a precarious fall again, and you feel a certain similar feeling as you topple with this cat, it thrashing at you. You feel cuts opening up on your arms and on your face, and you remember asking, is this real? And then you're like, ow! It's sure does feel real! As you thump and hit the ground, the cat whines out, one of its arms clearly broken, and you stand and immediately almost collapse as you realize, yep, that's a broken leg. Jumping out of trees hurts. You look across the meadow and you see the one cat that you wounded sort of like limping kind of towards you. This other one is sort of like thrashing on the ground, its leg also very clearly broken. And as you kick your way back, one of the other cats lands nimbly in front of you. It's slowly pacing towards you, its eyes glowing.
Like, she raises her fists and, like, leans against the tree because, like, one of her legs is broken. Please, don't make me kill you. And then she'll wait for it to pounce, and then I think she'll, like, try to, like, go under it. Like, if it, like, jumps at her, like, she'll just, like, slide down the tree and punch it from below.
Okay. Roll athletics.
That'll be a 7.
Cool. This time you swing your arm back as the cat leaps. You collapse just like you planned, and that arm that you start to bring forward into a punch just forms into a wooden spike that you just kind of like see in slow motion driving perfectly towards the heart of this animal, and you're like, yep, that's right where to stab it.
I just don't think she has the heart to kill something right now.
I'm not going to tell you whether you're doing this right yet, you know. You get to find out after the fact.
No, that's fine. Like, I just don't, like, through this arc, she killed a lot of things, and I think she just doesn't have it in her to kill more right now.
That's fair.
So she wounds it, but doesn't aim for the heart.
So as soon as you start to aim differently, your hand just, that wooden spike just falls away, and you basically squeaky punch a wooden cat in the stomach with your regular fleshy hands as it pounces on top of you. You feel pain again as you look deep into its eyes, and you can immediately know that this thing does have murderous intent towards you, but it doesn't necessarily have malice. You don't feel hate. You're prey to this thing, and it is a predator. You realize this is a feeling that you have had many times out in the wilds. You have seen any number of creatures that would definitely kill you. In fact, just birds in your world are lethal and dangerous, frequently aggressive, and inevitable that you run into at some point. You know all of that at the same time as you definitely know how to kill this thing. But you also do then have to ask yourself, I think maybe a question that would pop into your mind is not, if I can kill this thing, you definitely can. It's, how many things like this do I have to kill?
I don't know what I'm supposed to say now. Like, oh, I guess I'm pinned by this thing.
You are pinned right now. Okay, let me maybe pull the curtain back on this a little bit. I'm going to give you a hint of the choice that you are looking at. You can definitely choose to kill this. You will roll well on your athletics. But you know that you are going to run into things like this a lot. And the question bumping through your head is, and what you're telling me is, in character, you don't want to have to, right? But every time you try to directly physically attack it, you are knowing how to kill it. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
There's a choice to be made here, and every time you try to directly attack it, you know how to kill it, and your body almost instinctively does.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to think. Well, because escape has become increasingly difficult with a broken leg.
Definitely can't just run.
Do I have my bag of stuff, or no?
Sure.
Can I don't know if I have anything that really works for what I want to do.
What do you want to do?
I want to, like, light a fire to try to scare it. But I'm realizing I have no way to start a fire.
Did Fred make you anything?
Yeah, my spear.
Oh, we really should have established if you had that spear or not. I regret that a little bit. I like the notion. I think you have to do something that makes sense, but I like that notion.
Can I use my arm taser number thing, the zippy bop? Well, if it's like a taser uses electricity, like, there's a way you could start a fire with that.
Oh, yeah, that definitely, yes. Go ahead and roll distraction.
Okay, like, I wasn't being, like, this was not a ridiculous case. It was like, I was thinking, like, well, taser uses electricity and, like, high voltage.
I think you're also in a dream sequence, so, you know.
That's a 4.
Cool. So with a 4, you click that little like button on the tasy thing and it starts arcing electricity, and you just chuck it into like a pile of needles that go up in flame, like these dried leaves and needle that are scattered all across the ground. And immediately this tree cat like tenses, its ears lay back, its tail like fluffs as it whips back and forth, and then it scurries away. As that happens, you lay on the ground, your leg throbbing with pain, and you see a moth fluttering seemingly close to you, but growing larger and larger as it does. You feel soft legs wrap around you and carry you off high above this canopy of trees. Anyways, back to the rest of the party. And by the rest of the party, I mean the rest of the party other than Juliet.
And that's how you make a jerky out of rabbits.
Estelle, Hector, Fred, and Maul and Mitchell. Why did I give myself so many NPCs?
Do you want to tap in and play Hector for a little bit, Caitlin? I'm a little tired.
Right.
The last you saw was some kind of flutter of wings in a direction and Juliet going. What is everyone doing?
Caitlin waving sadly goodbye in chat.
Okay, so I want to say one of the last things we did was Estelle pointed out, or Estelle like had looked at the surrounding area. We can figure out which way to go now.
Mm-hmm.
So once everybody is awake and... Oh, actually, I should ask this question. No, wait, I didn't really see much of the moth. I just saw, like, the wing going away, right?
Yes.
Like, I wouldn't be able to tell what direction it was going in.
You might be able to intuit a kind of a direction, you know.
Okay. Is it going east, which is the way we were kind of aiming?
I would say at this point further north. Let's just say north for the fun of it.
Further north.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I think as we're like, everybody's making sure we've got all of our stuff to continue on, Estelle's gonna come back to the rest of the party. Okay, so it looks like, alright, I'm not for certain on this, but it looks like whatever took Juliet was going more north, and I know we were headed more east. So I think we probably want to follow what took Juliet. My intuition is saying that's what we need to do, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page before we start going that way.
Maul kind of, like, looks around and goes, I don't love that we had to leave Autumn, but she straight up vanished, and it kind of seemed like I thought Juliet did the same thing, and I apparently was wrong. I would like to find out where she went if there is any lead to chase. Feel like we can always head back east at some point, so I say chase the trail. Why not?
Anyone else have objections? Or anyone have objections?
I mean, so far you've only gotten me closer to the end of my quest, and you all are interesting. So I will stay with.
Fred?
Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea that we try to chase down whatever that thing was that was carrying Juliet. I don't want to lose her. She's fun to have around. She does all the planning so I don't have to.
Estelle bends down and grabs her backpack and puts it back on. All right, we're going north.
I hate to interrupt, but I think we should ask our fearless leader if we should go north. Where do you think we should go, Guffy? Which way should we go? Who's a good boy?
Guffy just rolls over and immediately starts getting tummy scratches, and all of you head off north. As you do, Mitchell kind of like pulls you aside as you're walking, Estelle. I am sorry for running off into the fog in what was probably the wrong way.
You know, to be honest, I don't think I really have the capacity to process a lot of things right now. I understand that you couldn't help it. I'm very aware of the fact that we were all being, I don't know, I guess charmed by, we're just gonna call them witches. Well,
They were cave witches.
yeah, I'm still extremely upset with you. So, let's just go find Juliet and let's handle this and hopefully this is the second trial done.
I'll follow your lead on this one. As you walk north, the forest around you, like I said, immediately became clear after all of the witches were defeated, right? Suddenly, this very confusing, foggy forest was immediately clear, and you were able to see quite far through these, now pretty tall, mature trees and a very low amount of undergrowth. As you walk north, that remains the case. The ground gets a little bit craggier and a little bit stonier as you meander your way. The overall feeling, though, of the forest does change a little bit. The tall evergreen trees switch to more deciduous trees, and the branches become a little bit lower. It becomes a little bit more difficult to navigate as you kind of make your way a little bit down out of this slight highland into this craggier, rockier, low area. As you do, Estelle, you can hear far off in the distance a faint beating. It's very minimal, it's very small, and it seems impossibly far away, but there is just this light thumping as you walk. And as you do, you eventually come to this. Boy, I do a lot of caves. I'm going to apologize for the amount of cave work that I do, but I like caves, and technically the other...
Caves and chasms, that's all there is.
No, it's
caves and chasms.
Kaylin, it's not caves and chasms. It's caves and people with glowing eyes.
In chasms, yeah.
You know what? We're mixing it up. Oh gosh. We're mixing it...
It's the Reefenbeef.
We're mixing it up. As you walk further north, the trees grow dense, and you eventually come to this sort of thicket of brambles and brush that have overgrown trees. They're vining and stretch all the way over it, making this kind of thready looking dome around these trees. And once you arrive there, you look up to the sky and see a moth flying down towards you. And as it does, you realize it is getting larger and larger and larger as a massive moth lands on this kind of dome of branches and looks at the 5 of you? Mitchell, Maul, Fred, 4 of you. Hector.
Are you all seeing this? This is insane, right? It's a non-nocturnal moth.
That's the only part about this that you're finding?
I mean, we saw your friend wrestle Wolf God off a cliff.
Yeah, and that was really, really strange.
I mean, I just was glad it wasn't eating the sun, so...
Viking jokes.
The moth looks down at all of you, its massive eyes for a minute resting on each of you, and you hear a voice come from its kind of pincery, clicky mouth. I am glad all of you have finally made it to my cocoon. I bear only a short message. Inside there is change. You can choose to come in, that you will not leave the same. 2 of your friends are already inside. They are changing.
2.
2.
You got Autumn too?
The first person to arrive was not in a condition to give me her name. Maybe it's Autumn. But I did have your friend who pushed the rock onto the witch. She is inside. She's changing.
Can you tell us how they're changing, or is that not a part of the game?
I don't know until they come out of the cocoon.
Got it.
I would really like to know how Autumn is changing. It's all the same to you, Giant Moth. This is from a player character. This is from a person to a fake moth. I am really curious. You don't need to tell the party, but I would like to know.
It's impossible to know. how we will all be made different by being in this place. Some of us we will be made stronger, some of us more cruel, some of us will be broken, and some will be lost.
That's a lot of bad options.
I have a question, but Hector wouldn't ask this. Does that mean some people won't come back out of this? Does that mean some of us might not come back out of this?
Some die in the cocoons, but some are lost, given to wander forever, unable to ever find home again, simply to become a part of the forest, specters, cruel and unusual killers, or beasts.
He subtly unhooks an axe from his belt and, hands it to Mitchell and is like, you're gonna need this too.
So do we get any hints on what's in there?
Oh, sure. What's in here is you will be put in a cocoon, and you will come out different. Your friends are already in their cocoons. I have some set aside for all of you that have made this journey.
I mean, I'd say I've already started to become a little different. I mean, this here, and he points at his stomach, like his torso. This isn't how I started.
The moth flutters up into the air and lands near you. One small pincer, feeler, whatever little moth arm has, brushing that spot on your chest. Ah, yes. Sometimes changes begin sooner, but all can be made different. But after you come in, you will be permanently different, one way or the other. I will say, and the moth flutters back up to her perch, it's up to you. None of you need enter. You can stay out here.
Okay, one last question before we go in, or before some of us go in. Is this another solo thing?
She cocks her head to the side and goes, what do you mean?
Like, are we all on this? You know what? I'm sure we'll figure it out. Where's the cocoon?
Do you want to be put in a cocoon with someone else? You certainly can. And you two will be different. Together.
Oh, I don't really like how that sounds. No, we'll do the solo bit.
I do. Different together.
Nope, we're good.
Two merged into one.
Nope. Nope, we've got enough change going on without making... Where's the cocoon?
You have that dog. It could go in with you.
Actually, I think Guffy should probably... Guffy's basically sat out half of this so far. I think this is another one to sit out.
I am so ready for the spin-off where we get to see what Maul, Mitchell, and Guffy see in their cocoon dreams.
Okay, but actually a serious thing, you do have to decide if you want to leave Guffy out or not.
No, I'm leaving Guffy. He had to walk with us. He is staying out. He stayed out for the wolf thing. Not trying to get my dog killed.
Guffy whines and sits down. I will take good care of him. Me and him have much to discuss.
Cool. I guess I'll find out later what that means. Yeah, is there obvious cocoon things to step into, or how does this work?
Oh, the minute you take a step inside, so Estelle, if you're walking in first.
Yeah.
So you push your way into this dark, sort of moist feeling area, small shafts of sunlight entering what feels like a very claustrophobic room as you bump into these soft, clothy feeling, dry, giant sacks hanging upside down from the ceiling. You step in just enough to notice that, and immediately you feel yourself wrenched off your feet, and in front of you, rapidly, this cloth bag forming around you, sealing in front of you. Fred, are you also going in?
Yeah, I suppose so.
So, Fred and Estelle both walk in. I will say Maul also enters, and Mitchell hesitates for a minute before being did this wrong once. We're going for it. And he walks in.
Hector does whatever you want him to do, Cody.
At this point, you all lose track of Hector. We don't ever have to talk about him again.
He was going to have a nice moment of saying goodbye, like in case we don't see each other again. But then Estelle just walked in because I didn't speak up fast enough.
Oh, no, don't worry. I actually do have plans for Hector. You guys will have a moment. Okay, now this is kind of the fun part where I could say everybody roll a dice and tell me what you roll. Like, just, let's say a d6. Just like a regular numbered d6.
I'm assuming I'm done? Or do I need to roll a d6?
You don't have to roll. No.
Do I have to roll?
Yes.
You have all my D6s.
I did steal every single one of your D6s.
I have no D6s.
I stole all of them.
Can I have one?
I don't have them down here. They're up in our room.
6.
Okay.
3.
Okay. Estelle, you lose track of yourself as darkness enshrouds you, and your mind fades away, back to someplace familiar. You're standing on the top of a dry brown stone overlooking a desert that leads up into a rocky mountain. Guffey's beside you, and you recognize this as a fairly familiar stomping ground from your days in the Symbiote. You are out here researching, let's say, an interesting lizard that is probably some kind of like halfway between a snake and a lizard. So like, you know, like there's snakes that have tiny little arms. So it's like your...
So a slizzard, if you will.
Yes. Those are like real things that I hate.
I won't.
So you're looking for a snake lizard that people have been reporting seeing these like boa constrictor sized snakes with arms and legs. And you're like, that would be an interesting thing to find and learn about. Both because I keep getting bites from these things and I'm trying to figure out if they're venomous or if it's just infection. And also because it's like, hey, snakes are cool.
Did it hurt you to say that, Cody?
It did, a little bit. As you look around, you see a familiar face. Matthew's there with you. As soon as you lock eyes with him, you just hear him speak as normal. Hi, Mom. Good of you to finally, get off your break. We got a slizzard to find.
How real do I think this is?
I'm trying to think about the right way to put it, because I don't want to, like...
Also, just so you know, I did say that Estelle mostly does mammals, but I'll take your slizzard.
Are there any, like, good desert mammals? Because they're all small, because
they're all small.
Because they're, like, deserty.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is that this thing has been a blight on desert mammals. It has been disrupting the ecosystem, because suddenly there is a rash of dead desert animals that you would normally be studying, and you're trying to figure out what snake lizard is doing this. This is like a chupacabra level of,
Yeah, ecosystem disruption.
Yeah. It feels real, even if you kind of have the memories that would disprove it from being real. You know when you're in a dream and you kind of have to like tell yourself this isn't real, this isn't real, this isn't real.
So like, when I look at Guffey, I know I left Guffey, I told Guffey to stay.
Right, but this also does feel like a place that you should be. You know what I mean? You're in a dream sequence, but I don't want to just be like, it feels fake and you can ignore it. Like, it feels real in the moment.
I didn't know how much arguing I was about to do of, is this real or not, I think Estelle, with that description, she blinks and reaches down and pets Guffey and feels his, can feel his fur, and that makes it more real. And if this is based off of, like, what she was doing in the Symbi herbs, she, like, shoulders her pack and looks over at Matthew. I didn't realize you were coming with. Great. Yeah, let's get moving.
So immediately you guys start walking your way deeper into the wilds around this Symbi herb. Now, I would say the Symbi herb is kind of built in a basin, and surrounding it is this, like, range of mountains that get taller and more treacherous as they go. The way that you've been getting these reports are at the, that you've like kind of like tracked, this is where there's been some like death of small animals, is at one of the more treacherous areas to get to. Like, it requires quite a lot of like free climbing up rocks. There are some areas where it's like, yeah, like you could slip and fall and really hurt yourself. You have a little harness for Guffy that you could use to like drag him up some of the slopes, but you know this is going to be pretty rough going.
I have another quick question in terms of realism.
Okay.
So Estelle never took Matthew outside of the eco herb at this current age. He was always much younger. Is he much younger, or is this current Matthew?
Right now, this is current Matthew.
It's current Matthew. Okay.
You know what? I'm going to walk that back. I'm going to say this is younger Matthew.
Okay.
Call it 13, 14.
Nope. She hasn't been out here in like a decade. He would have been like 5 or 6.
Oh, I thought that you were in the Symbiote until recently.
In the Symbiote, she stopped going into the wilds for a decade.
Oh, sorry. I see. Let's go with him being, like more of a child.
Okay.
So as you start going, he like immediately starts running off ahead of you.
Matthew, slow down.
He turns around and goes, "Why don't you speed up? All right, you finally let me come out here. You can't keep me back."
Well, I have to... Guffy's an important member of this team. We have to make sure he comes along too. And also, don't get too far ahead. You don't know what you're looking for yet.
I think I'm looking for a snake with arms.
Okay, but do you know what you're looking for to find that?
Dead animals?
Yeah, okay, not just that. We're looking for tracks.
He just kind of looks at you and goes, "What a tracks."
Okay, yeah, slow down, stay by me, okay?
He slows down and starts walking beside you. He's kind of like swinging his arms, and you can tell that he has like a little bit of like nervous energy. You get to the first place where there's going to be like a difficult climb. It is like two rocks that are leaned up against each other, and you kind of have to like push on either side and walk your way up, and it's maybe like 20, 30 feet that you have to like get your way up. He gets to it and just immediately starts climbing.
Oh, hey, okay, take it slow. You don't have to go so fast. I'll spot you. Just when you get to the top, stop, okay? And wait for me and Guffy to catch up. I'm going to take a second to figure out how to get Guffy up there.
He looks down at you and smiles and goes, "Sure thing." And you just see him like disappear over the head of the rock as he like Spider-Mans his way up rapidly. As soon as he does, he goes, "Ma'am?
Yeah, what's up?"
"I see dead animals up here."
Okay, well, don't move. Stay quiet. I'm coming up.
As you say that, you see a rope get thrown down and his little head sticking out over the top, and he goes, "Threw that down for Guffy."
Okay, I'll make sure I don't use it. And she's like tying the rope to the harness to pull him up.
"You should. He's an important member of our team and we can't leave him behind."
Yeah, that's why I said I'm not good. I meant me. I won't use it if it's for... Can you just stay quiet up there?
He starts pulling Guffy up as you make your way up. When you get to the top, you look at Matthew, who is now like teenage Matthew, like maybe 16, 17-year-old Matthew, as you're used to seeing. He goes, "It took you forever. I mean, come on. I know that, look, we all slow down in our old age, but I mean, come on. It took you like 20 minutes to get up the rock."
Yeah, just... Are you sure it was only 20 minutes?
"Yeah, I timed you. I got Guffy up to the top faster than you did."
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I guess I was just losing my grip. I don't know. What did you see anything else up here other than the dead animals?
Make me an investigation check.
I just realized Guffy would have been a puppy too.
Guffy was little, but he was always a big puppy. That's the problem. Inquisitive or danger sense?
Inquisitive works here.
Or animal handling. Wow, all blanks. +2.
Okay. As you start searching around, you can see like clear signs where there's been like fights between these small rodents and then a much larger one or a much larger creature. You can see handprints mixed with like the trails and disturbances in the sand that you'd associate with snakes. And all of that is like, that is weird. That is a red flag. Having these prints near each other is very odd. And the weirder thing, though, is you don't necessarily see a really strong trail leading away. And Matthew goes, "Now, Mom, look, hear me out. It's a flying armed snake. This is the closest thing to a dragon because there's no trail leading away. That points to the very clear, obvious answer, dragon."
Katars bless, I hope not. Any signs of it digging down?
That is... I didn't even think of that, but now that you say it, I'm kind of thinking it might actually have dug down instead of being a dragon. That seems feasible. That's actually an interesting idea that I had not considered. I want you to make me another investigation check to see if it did in fact dig down, because that's kind of like a... If you make me do more cave work, when I narratively gave myself a way to not do caves, I'm going to be upset.
The number of times you've said, well, you rolled well, but the answer is no, makes me think you just really want to do that cave, though.
It's a +2 again.
Are you lying? Because if it wasn't a +2, you can tell me.
No, I had a dice hit me, so I re-rolled it, and it was the same thing.
Okay. So Matthew's like, look, there's no way. There's literally impossible for this to be a cave. And as he's saying that, he takes a step and his foot just sinks straight down into the rock. And he goes, Mom, I found the cave.
Yeah, there it is.
Might not be a dragon. He goes, all right, hang on. Let me just dig this out. And he like gets like one of them little like collapsible shovels and starts like digging away the sand from this little cave.
Well, okay, no, wait. We don't necessarily want to go after it. We want to observe it. We want to see what it's...
How are we supposed to observe it without getting down there?
Well, it must come up to get the animals.
He just kind of like looks at you and then looks at Guffy and he goes, that is a big snack though. I'm not saying we're actually going to let it eat Guffy, but it would probably, it'd think about it.
Probably think about eating us too. I mean, I don't know.
I could be the bait. You want me to be the bait?
I don't want you to be the bait. I don't want anyone to be the bait. I want us to sit over here and we're going to watch this thing and see what it's doing. That's how you start this. And then we can figure out how we get it out of the ecosystem so it's not hurting what's currently here.
He just kind of looks dejected and he goes, fine. And you guys kind of scurry your way up the rocks and kind of look down at this plateau up this rocky shelf and, hope to wait to see, some rabbits hopping across and then a winged snake or a ground-dwelling snake either jump out of the ground or swoop down from the cliff tops to grab a rabbit. As you sit there and wait, Matthew goes, so is it always this boring? And as you look over at him, he looks weird now to your eyes. He's clearly in his mid-20s. You can tell that he has stubble on his cheek, even though it looks like he shaved recently. His hair's a little bit more trimmed. He's starting to have some wrinkles. Typically he's always been very lean and lanky, and he now looks a little bit more, would be the right way to say.
Filled out?
Yeah. He doesn't look bones and sticks anymore.
He's not gangly.
Yeah, he's not as gangly anymore. As he looks over and goes, hey, Mom, how's it going? We still just waiting now? We just keep waiting for literally ever?
Estelle blinks and she reaches over and ruffles his hair. I like how you're doing that now. It looks good.
Yeah, right. Turns out me having a moppish head of hair for my entire life was a mistake that you allowed me to make.
I am supposed to let you make your own mistakes. As she's pulling her hand back, what do her hands look like?
Totally normal.
So no wrinkles or anything, no aging?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
He looks down and goes, so speaking of my own mistakes, I could still be bait.
I'll tell you what, let's give it a little bit longer, and then I'll let you walk back and forth a few times to try to leave your scent around, and we'll see if that makes a difference and see if it actually starts moving.
I do not hate this plan. I will take this compromise. As you sit and wait a little bit longer, he just goes, all right, nope, gotta do it.
Okay.
He jumps down and lands in this little plateau. And then he doesn't just pace back and forth. He lays down on the ground and dramatically puts one of his arms out and starts mewling. And he's like, my arm, it's broken. So's my leg. Definitely I'm injured and unable to defend myself.
I don't know. Do snakes have ears? It's been a while.
I think snakes do have ears, in
Do
fact.
they? I feel like I should know this.
They have little ear holes.
Yeah, I don't think that they're they're not like a bat, but
Oh, they have internal ears. Okay.
Yeah.
ick.
All right,
All
cut.
of that is gross.
All right. Estelle would know that. Yeah, okay. Make it louder so it can hear you.
As you say that, you see his arm as he is writhing, just dips down a little bit further, and the ground starts to give out underneath his arm.
Okay, get up, get up,
And-
get up.
A thick black, snake body just does one loop around him and then goes back into the dirt and starts pulling him down. He's like, looks like we're exploring the cave.
Estelle jumps down and she goes and grabs his arm and starts pulling him back up.
As you do, he goes, Mom, no, look, we gotta get down into the cave. All right, it's deciding to let me see the cave.
I don't think that's what I think it wants to eat you,
Well,
Matthew.
definitely eventually, but I mean, look at the size of me.
How big is it on it's python size or
Yeah, so it's probably what's that, that big around is maybe 4 inches in diameter.
Okay. As it's pulling him down, Estelle is going to keep one hand on him. She's going to reach down and she's going to feel for where the hole is that it's pulling him into. How big is it?
Oh, I see what you're getting at. Yeah, so as you start to reach down, you can feel that there's soft soil. So imagine you're standing on a sand dune.
Yeah.
You could just keep digging down. So sand dune on top of hard rock, there is a path to slip underneath the rocks where it would be dragging Matthew. That hole that you could eventually find maybe underneath a foot or two of sand is pretty big.
Okay. She is going to keep a hand on Matthew and she looks at him and goes, okay, relax. I'm coming down too.
All right. Make me a make me a CrossFit check.
+3.
Okay. So you're able to slip down pretty easily. You just kind of kick your feet, knock away some of the sand, sort of slide your way in as the loose sand above your head pours down and fills in this gap between the rocks. And you slide into this dark cave little den that this snake clearly lives in. And as you do, you hear hissing and then, ma'am, well, I'll tell you what, the snake has not let go of me, and I do think it's trying to feed me to its baby snakes, but so far, they are not doing great at getting through the clothes. Also, can safely say, not venomous.
I would have some kind of flashlight, right?
Yeah, you could have a flashlight.
Okay. She's going to take out her flashlight, turn it on. What do I see?
So you turn it on and you shine it at the ground, and it's there's shattered eggs, and then up on the walls of this little stone den, you can see Matthew kind of dangling awkwardly, suspended by coils of snakes, as a mouth of a snake is clamped on his shoulder at this point, right? You can see maybe a faint little bit of blood around that, but it's clearly not biting through anything. It's just clamped on. It also has not tiny arms by any stretch of the mind, but for its body, pretty small arms that it is also dug into his, not dug, but is gripping his face and his shirt. And there's hind legs also grabbing him that are further down on its body. And then all over him are tiny little baby snakes that are just trying to nibble through his shirt. And he's just all right, this wasn't maybe the best idea, but we do now know more. So we got that going for us.
Okay. I'm going to say that we knew that we were going after snake-like animals. And so Estelle has some garlic, onions, and vinegar on her, individually, not mixed up or anything.
Yeah.
And so the first thing she's going to do. So how is Matthew suspended?
It is literally the snake is wrapped around him several times and up through the rocks as well. Okay. So you can't see all of the snake's body, but there's coils wrapped around him and also the snake's head on his shoulder. And it's also coiled up through bits of the rock and then around him more to like hang him there to be like easy prey for its babies.
Okay, and the babies, is he like, how far up off the ground is he where the babies are like?
Maybe like a couple feet. They've like slithered onto his body and are just
at this
like
point they've
trying to
slithered
like
onto his
bite
body.
at him because they have little hands so they can just climb up on.
Gotcha. Okay, so I think she's first gonna try some garlic and she's gonna pull some out. She's gonna crush it. If you need me to roll to crush, I will. But
This could just be an animal handling check.
Yeah, so she's gonna do that and then like kind of go through her snake repellent items.
Yeah.
Hold them up close to where the snake is, possibly like spray down the babies with the vinegar. Like she's just going through the like, get Matthew down. And it's almost like, since he is not in immediate danger, it's almost like next time we can just wait. +5.
All right. So as soon as you start like waving around crushed garlic and vinegar, the snake, like its nostrils flare and its eyes kind of bug wild. It loosens and Matthew like slips onto the floor and all of its little babies scurry up and like clamber onto their mom like a possum. The snake hisses and then slithers away. You and Matthew like kick your way out of the little den and are back up on the surface. When you get back up on there, Matthew's hair is like shot through with a little bit of gray. He's maybe got a beard now and like some wrinkles around his face. And he goes, all right, so I should carry garlic is what I'm learning here, is just carry some garlic.
Well, okay, garlic isn't going to get rid of everything. It's not going to get rid of a mouse.
It gets rid of dates. Get it? Because then your breath smells bad?
Yeah, I got it. It was pretty funny.
We should talk about that, by the way, Mom. If you ever want to like get a boyfriend, maybe less garlic, just like a general idea.
If I ever got a boyfriend, they would probably have to deal with a lot of weird things that I carry on me when I'm trying to keep animals away from me, or trying to get them to come to me, depending on the day.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is like, pick one over the other, and then anyways, alright, so, here's the deal. I think we need to keep tracking the snake, even though we've scared it away from the immediate vicinity, because obviously we don't want it to starve. So, how about this? I'll keep looking for it. Why don't you head back to town and maybe we can find something to feed it with, and then set up a new area for it to live where it's not going to wildly disrupt the immediate ecosystem. And don't worry, you can take Guffy as protection.
Actually, okay, one, are you sure you want to go off?
Literally, I just dealt with being fed to snake babies by a giant snake, so yeah, I'm good.
Well, yeah, but like, if you're gonna
give me the garlic, and then if things go bad again, just rub some garlic on my face. Boom. No problem with the snake wanting me to be her new date.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, okay, here, you can take all the repellent that I got. That's fine. I'd rather send Guffy with you if you're gonna be out here.
What? No, I got the garlic, you get the Guffy. He's also your dog.
He is my dog, but he's for protection out in the wild.
You got a lot of wild to walk through before you get back home. And then he goes, Guffy, go with Mom.
You got a lot of wild to walk through to go find another spot and keep tracking it.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I don't need Guffy.
There's other things out here other than those snakes. Can you please take Guffy?
He cocks his head to the side and goes, no.
Why?
Because I told you I don't need Guffy. So you can take Guffy, because there are also things between you and the symbiote, and he's your dog.
I know we're just going to go around in circles here, but no, he's for being out here in the wild, and if you're going to find another place, like, I just had to help you get away from the snakes. You didn't, I would feel better if there was someone or something else with you.
Did you always bring someone with you when you were out in the wilds? Like every single time? You've never gone out by yourself? Never done any of this alone?
No, I used to go on my own when I was really little, but I never went very far.
I'm not really that little.
I know, but it's scary out there.
Yeah, it's why I'm out here.
The wilds.
Yeah, it's why I'm out here. Otherwise, I would be bored out of my mind. So, it's fine. I know how to avoid the snake now. Most other things I've seen, because I've been out here a lot. So, the surprise is I got the guy to take care of the snake. Everything else we've already seen before, And also, it's entirely possible that Guffey would be just as valuable to... Guffey was not helpful for the snake, right? Like the Garlic was. I got that. You also just might need Guffey on your way home. So, that's a feasible thing. Why do you think I'm more likely to need Guffey than you when we're both gotta make a long trek through the wilds?
Estelle puts her hands on her hips, and she huffs a little bit. And then she takes off the whatever backpack bag thing she currently has, looks in it, makes sure that there's the flashlight. She makes sure the hunting knife is in there. She makes sure there's all the extra stuff, and she holds it out to him. Can you at least take the pack?
He looks at it and goes, if you give me this, I am not giving that cool hunting knife back. That's now my cool hunting knife. So just know that in your hat, you'll get everything else back. I'm keeping the knife.
Is this Cody or Matthew talking?
Fine. The next time you come home with some stamps, I'm stealing a few to get myself a new hunting knife.
Gives a thumbs up, takes the pack. You see him putting garlic on it's lipstick as he waves and walks off. When you see him walking away, you can see his hair has gone completely gray as he walks off and starts making his way higher up into the mountain pass where you saw the snake kind of slither away after you presented it with garlic. Do I need to do the cocoon thing for all of you, or can we just fill in cocoon nonsense later?
We can do cocoon nonsense. We've done it twice.
Awesome. Cocoon nonsense later. It's the same cocoon nonsense for everybody. You rolled a 3.
I rolled I think a 3, yeah.
Sorry, when I say cocoon nonsense, I mean the thing where I describe that you lose track of your body, not the whole cocoon event.
Okay. I was like, are you just stealing all of the RP that I've sat through for an hour and a half? Like, what? Can we just skip the...
Yeah, I'm just no, I just mean I don't want to do the same description of you losing your body in the cocoon again for you and Caitlin.
Okay.
We can just assume that.
I got what you were saying, Cody.
I realized how that could have sounded super mean. Just we're skipping Fred and Juliet. I'm sick of it.
That's why I was so confused. I was like, I've been here for an hour and a half, done nothing, and now you're telling me I don't get to do anything. What?
Nope, you're done. You had your chance when you got to say, yes, I go with the cocoon. That was it. Fred, you find yourself in a sulfury smelling, burning place. There is lava all around you and the industrial grind of machinery. There's machinery and tools scattered all over the place. You can see hunks of metal that are half-formed, laying in ash and volcanic rock. The whole area is sweaty as you can feel the heat coming off of the walls and the floor in waves. And in front of you, you see a dark cloaked figure. Its face hidden by a hood. It reaches out one long, bony finger to point at you, and you hear a voice come from the hood.
Fred, it is good that you finally joined me. Now all you must do is convince me. Why should I let you live? You're already basically dead. Why should I stop that?
The bony finger lowers.
So some questions.
Mm-hmm.
First, is this a place I'm familiar with? Is this somewhere I've been before, or?
No, this straight up feels like hell.
Okay. I wasn't sure if this was some workshop I used to be at or something. Okay. And I don't know who this is.
No, this is supposed to really be pretty pretty grim feeling.
Okay. So he wants me to convince him of why I shouldn't just die?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first thing, I'm fun. I'm a fun guy to have around. Like, you don't want to kill me. Second, I'm useful. I make stuff. I can make tools and weapons and all kinds of stuff. And third, who are you? And where am I?
You're in hell! No, only kind of. You're in the domain of death, which might as well be. So, you're telling me you're useful? Oh, I think you could be useful to me in death.
I mean, I don't really want to die. How can I avoid that?
Convince me why I should let you go, and maybe I will loosen my grip on that heart.
And as he says that, you feel like that wooden part of your chest suddenly feels much less comfortable as you become acutely aware that maybe you don't have a beating heart.
It's just hard to figure out an answer to this guy. Well, how about this then? I got friends that'll miss me if I died, and you don't want to hear me just go on and on about how much I'll miss my friends for all eternity, right?
Make me a deceit check or a rapport check, because you're kind of doing both.
That is a 3. I mean, you got Estelle, who is like a doctor. She like works with animals. You got Autumn. I'm not really sure what's up with Autumn. We haven't seen her in a bit, but she like was fighting this wolf god thing, and she fell, but she's probably all right. I think she. I don't remember what's up with her. And Juliet, she's like the planner. She just does all the stuff I don't want to do because planning sucks. And then who did I forget?
That's everyone.
Oh, then you have Mitchell. He's like the sheriff of town, but he's growing on me a little bit. He kind of can be a hot ass on the rules, but he's a nice enough guy once you get to know him. Miles kind of a wild card. She kind of just does what she wants, and you never really know what's going on with her. We just met Hector. He's this like big buff guy. Traveled with him for a bit. And Fred's just gonna keep going until the guy shuts him up.
All right, you were more fun to talk to at first. You said you were good to spend time with. But, all right, you have friends that need you. But maybe I need you. Look around, this place is unrefined. Maybe you could make something of it. The proverbial deal with the devil has advantages to both of us.
As you look, you see that he is in fact right. There is tons of raw material here that to you is somewhat enticing. You can see machines just on the edge of working, which seem interesting to you. This place is not comfortable, that's true, but there is a lot of fascinating stuff here.
Being dead is not so bad, especially when you are one of my favorites. So what's so bad? Lose who you are, give all of that up, give up your heart, and work for me. You could be useful.
I'm really struggling to decide which way to go with this.
You know, I'll give you the advice that Mandy's mom gave me when I was trying to take a math test for fun on Sunday. Your first thought is usually the right one.
Fred's gonna like kind of take a stroll around all this machinery and equipment that's there and just kind of take a closer look at it.
Roll me insight.
Notice? Oh no! I actually have insight.
You do. I have your character sheet open.
It's not great. I think I'm going to spend a fate point to reroll that one.
That's cool.
That's what they're there for, right?
Sure is.
That's better. That is a 2.
Okay. So you wander around and So all of this stuff does seem extremely appealing to Fred in that way of like making tools, crafting, building. There's actually a lot of raw material here. You see metals that you don't know anything about. You realize that you have a constant source of heat. This is a little bit of a Minecraft dream, right? And then you stop at one very unpleasant looking device. It looks like an Iron Maiden, but literally for a actual representation of a human heart. As you stop and look down at that, you feel a very squeamish feel in the pit of your stomach. Death swoops down next to you.
Yes, that's where it would go. Your heart. I do not wish to lie. There is a misrepresentation of me sometimes, that I am a trickster, that I am deceitful. I'm not. I will be honest with you. Let who you are now die. Become a very useful servant for me. And you can still see your friends. You can still be a part of Smokey Banks. You will just die. You'll die anyways. What do you really have to be alive for?
Well, if I'm being honest here, when I first came to Smokey Banks, I basically that's all I tried to do is try to make things and be useful, which it sounds like is the deal you offer me here. But I found this group that seems to enjoy having me around, even outside of me being useful. So I think that's what I have to live for, is that group of friends.
This offer is a one-time thing. You will not be the same when you return to them. Your body is mangled. Why not? You could still see them. You would just be less of you. You might be more useful to them. After all, access to all of this.
And he gestures like another bony hand around.
Imagine what you could build for. Well, for me, but for them as well.
So how much do I remember of how I got here? Like, do I remember the cocoon? Or is this like an isolated, like, my memory is fuzzy?
You kind of know, like, it's fuzzy, and there is, like, a fuzziness going back as well. You can already feel this, like, loss of self that he is talking about, because you kind of have two memory things going on, right? There is the dreamness of how did I end up in this weird hell. That's left vague. You do remember the adventure that you're on, though. But there's also that, like, Fred himself actively losing himself now, and what Death is talking about is making that, like, permanent and like a thing, right? Is like you would lose all of that. You know what I mean?
Right. Tell me if this is going too far of what Fred would remember.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I seem to remember someone telling me that I had to lose myself, or I had to change, and you're saying that if I don't do this, I'm going to change? So that sounds like that's what I'm supposed to do, right?
You see Death in front of you kind of shudder, and disgust plays on his voice.
The moth. She shows a way forward, but I find it despicable. I think it is better sometimes to let death take its course rather than try to push it away with unnatural changes. Maybe you're meant to be dead. Certainly, at this point, Fred, you're already different. Your chest is made of wood. Your heart has in some way already changed. You're already losing memories. You already can't remember exactly what brought you to Smokey Banks. Those memories being lost don't seem like something so terrible. Maybe you are offered a choice. Two different kinds of change. Either accept the inevitability of your death and your eventual servitude to me, or you can allow yourself to flower into some kind of mothy butterfly. I know which I would choose. What I offer is far more definite. The loss of yourself at some point, sure, but access to all of this.
So you're asking me to choose between dying eventually and dying right now? I think I'd choose the eventually. If it's a certainty anyway, which I accept that at some point everything dies. Why would I want to choose that now? Why not enjoy what I have with my friends, and then, yeah, when I die eventually, I die. But I don't need that to be right now.
Fine. Then I'll ask you the question again. Why should I just let you leave?
Oh, I didn't even tell you about Honey. Honey is this nice old lady that I met that tries to drag me to bingo, and she tries to get me to her swimming classes and all kinds of stuff.
Roll deceit.
It was good.
Oh, God. How many fate points do I have?
1.
I'm going to use it.
Yep.
Oh, that is much better. Okay, that is a 4.
Nice. As you start yammering on about Honey, the Death reaches out a bony finger and hits you on the chest and just goes, "Fine!" And when you feel that hit, you feel like a burn in your chest as your heart starts beating again after being wood for a few days. Juliet, moth nonsense later. You find yourself in an odd temple. There's an altar in the center with a pedestal that comes up to a octagonal, right? That's 8 sides. So there's a pedestal that comes up to like an octagonal base. Each side of the octagon forms an arrow, like a triangle towards the center. Each of those has a color on it that corresponds to, like, should be colors of the rainbow, right? So that's, did I miscount that? Are there 8 or 6 colors in the rainbow?
There's 7.
7. Shoot. Okay, so it's 7-sided. What's a 7-sided thing?
Or septagon.
Septahedron.
Septagon. So that's old, worn stone. One of them is orange. One of them is red, yellow, green, blue, purple, or like violet and indigo. And that's all like this old, worn-out paint. Around you, there are 4 statues. They all are of that, like, grown, swirling stone. At the top of each of them are candles. One of them has... Hang on a second.
This is a really intense puzzle.
It's only 10:50 at night.
Right.
Good luck.
So, around each of them are 2 candles, 3 candles, 5 candles, and 7 candles. So like at the top of these like stone statues, the statues themselves are 4 different animals. There is a like bird with its wings spread. There is a like bear on its hind legs. There is a shark cresting out of some waves, and then like a serpent coiling around a tree. All of them feel almost alive. They're so detailed. At the far end of the room, there is a door. The door is painted a sort of muddled hue of color. So it's like sort of a like sea foamy green. And there are slashes through the door that equal to 10. So there's like 10 slashes through the door.
That go all the way through?
They're like scratches across the door.
Okay.
And as you look around at all of this, you're like, okay, weird. And then you look over and leaning against one of these, like, smooth grown stone walls, you see, I forgot his name. Who was the dude's name that you killed?
Lance.
Oh, Lance.
Lance. You see Lance standing there. You can see the knife in his side where you stabbed him. How's it going, killer?
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here? Seriously, what am I doing here? I don't know.
Okay, well, you've seemed to have been here longer than I have. What And do you know anything about this room? Anything look familiar to you?
I don't particularly know why I would tell you that. I kind of find the idea of watching you fail at this actually pretty fun.
Well, great. I guess get comfortable then. I will be here for a while, I'm sure.
My hope is forever.
So is this like, there's not an exit besides this teal door?
Yeah.
Okay. She's gonna go over to the teal door and try to open it. See what happens.
I just want to ask you something, because this might not be particularly satisfying. Do you want me to, like, just go with as written, and that's just true? Like, sometimes my plans don't work very well, or do you want me to, like, try to free spin this on the fly?
No. Caitlin just solved your riddle immediately, and I think she deserves that.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, the riddle was all of those details were meaningless, and you just had to try to open the door. There was going to be a whole thing. If you tried to do the puzzle, it was going to get more chaotic the more you tried to figure it out. As the color that you were trying to match the numbers by multiplying the pedestals didn't work. You didn't do any of that. You just tried to open the door, which is the right answer. So, as you push the door open, you just go, dang it, as you walk out.
I was gonna tell him he should come with, like, that he can leave.
Oh no, he was just there to torment you as you try to figure it out.
Well, I know, but Juliet doesn't know that. Like, she doesn't know that she's not trapped in here also with him. You know what I mean?
Oh, shoot. I get what you're saying. Let me think for 2 seconds.
I was about to say that's why we call her the Soul Crusher.
Do you ever think that Caitlin loses her Soul Crusher chops ever, and then she just does something like this, where it's just like, the puzzle is, I open the door.
Like, the thing is, it's like it would have been just as easy for Zach to do anything but attack them, to, like, try to learn about them and do something besides being directly aggressive to them that would distract them. Any of that was the right answer. Just, like, it could have been just as short, which is fine. Anyways, okay. So, you push the door open, and you just hear, like, oh, come on! As you turn around and see Lance just looking, like, absolutely furious with a knife stuck in his side.
Do you want to leave as well? I'm leaving. If you've been stuck here.
Do you know how long I've been trying to figure that out? I'll give you a hint. It's since you stabbed me.
Well, now's your chance to turn over a new leaf. Try something new.
You know I did try to kill you, right? Like, are you really positive you want to drag me out of this thing?
Well, I think if anything is going to change you, maybe getting stabbed in the side might do it. That Lance can die. That's fine. But the Lance that walks out of here doesn't have to be the same. He doesn't have to be a wolf. He can be something new.
You see, he kind of hesitates while leaning against the wall, stands up and goes, all right, let's see, and walks out in front of you. Cutting back to the...
I was just thinking about how it's funny that you didn't expect Juliet, the one who would be like all about getting all the information before planning anything, to not ensure that the door was locked, to make sure that, oh, this door is actually locked and there's a puzzle to solve.
I just figured I should try the door, and then whatever happened would tell me what I needed to do.
Exactly.
It would do something. It would give me an error message, and I would have to figure out the error message, you know? But I'm glad that wasn't the thing, because I did not have the brain power to figure out a puzzle.
So, as all of you walk out of or end these various things, like as Estelle walks back towards home, as Fred feels that burning in his chest, as Juliet, you just push through the door after Lance, and Autumn, as you like lit that fire to distract that cat, all of you feel yourselves fall out of those cocoons onto the floor. As you look around, you hear a few other rips as well. Sorry, you see Lance hit the ground. He jumps up to his feet, looks around, and is immediately, like, running for the door. Another cocoon you see rustle and shake and fall to the ground, and out of it springs a giant wolf, shrugging off furs and axes that clatter to the ground around him as he sits back on his haunches in this den. You see Maul fall out of one. She hits the ground. She seems, to your eyes, generally unchanged. Another rips open and you see Mitchell fall out. As he hits the ground and stands up, you look into his eyes and see that they aren't gone, but looking into his eyes, you can see, like, text on them, as if they're, like, etched in.
Terrifying.
It's like pages of a book that he has over, like, where his eyes should be. As all of you look over at Estelle, you see that her hair is shot through with gray, and growing out of it, there seem to be, like, branches and vines trailing into her web of hair. When you look over at Fred, you can see that chest that was like a petrified wood a minute ago now seems normal, but you can see like a burning glow from where his heart is. When Juliet emerges from her cocoon, you can see like below her neck and like down her arms, you can see precise and geometric patterns that seem to have grown into her skin like a faint green. And when Autumn emerges from her cocoon...
She is a tree.
She is not a tree, I promise. The change to her is not super visually noticeable, but Autumn, as soon as you hit the ground and stand up, you see everyone around you. You look over at that wolf and can immediately and precisely understand exactly what its intentions are. They are somewhat hostile. You are in a very small cave with a very large wolf that thinks it could eat any of these people. But, at the moment, it's tired and not that hungry.
Can I see the intentions of the people around me?
None of the people around you can see their intentions.
Okay.
Guffy's also there. He's still Guffy.
What are Guffy's intentions?
I was waiting for him to come in and be like the pig in Gravity Falls just talking, like, right. I know the knowledge of the universe now.
So I guess, did we do it? We did all 3 trials, right?
Can we leave the room?
Wait, Autumn! Autumn, you're here! She
Can we
runs
leave
over and hugs her.
Like, while she's hugging Juliet tightly, can we leave the room with the giant wolf who wants to eat us, maybe?
Yes, you know Hector. I'm pretty sure that's Hector.
Yes. Also, last thing I did in front of Hector is kill a giant wolf.
Are you all right? Are you? And she's like,
Autumn is leaving, like pulling Juliet with her out of the cave.
All right. Well, Hector, we're gonna try to go home. I hope you find your way to your home.
The wolf looks at you and then jumps into the sky.
I guess
Goodbye?
He's the new challenge for other poor eco-herbs.
Well, you don't need to go fight him again. I think you've done enough wolf fighting for one lifetime.
I have done enough of a lot of fighting for a very long time.
Before we leave, Estelle is gonna look around. She wants to see if the moth is still there, or the phantom is there, or she's kind of looking for this is the end. You did it.
You solved my puzzle, yeah.
As all of you walk back outside, the moth is still on the side of this sort of dome of leaves, her little moth den.
Can I read the moth's intentions?
No. She looks at all of you as you exit. She looks at Estelle, the mother, and then at Juliet, the wise, to Fred, the hearth, and then to Autumn, the paladin. All of you have done well, and all of you leave changed. You will learn in time what that means. But You are now part of the wild. I can see that you are probably worried for your homes. A place also that is changing. It is still there waiting for you. You are not lost. And I'm sure Smokey Banks has changed in kind, just like all of you.
Did Maul and Mitchell get epithets?
No, because I didn't write any for them, which I probably should have, but I didn't, because I forgot.
What did Lance get? That's the one I'm more curious about.
So, do we just go back west to Smokey Banks? Are we done? Or can you take us there?
The moth looks at you and goes, "It's so rare that I am asked for a favor. And all of you were so..."
Maybe I take it back.
One of you skipped my puzzles.
And all of you were charming, to say the least. I can take you back. And all of you feel those soft arms wrap around you as moth wings beat and you fly above the canopy towards home. Dear Mom and Dad, well, Autumn is still missing. According to this odd boy named Matthew, she is off trying to fix the town by finding some forest witch or something. I guess he used to be a tree. These small towns. Now I guess he is the town sheriff or coordinator. He's running around and seems to never sleep, and he keeps wanting to add me to the wilderness encroachment response plan, whatever he means by that. I'm telling you, these eco-herbs out in the middle of nowhere are the worst. Anyway, this town seems to be pretty small time for Autumn. I'm guessing that she'll get bored, no doubt, and want to come back home when she's tired of this place. So not to worry, I'll have a little chat with her and set this all to right. But I do hope this letter makes it to you this time. I have my doubts of these shipboat captains. They seem to not be able to get up the river anymore, and they seem to say that the stars have changed that they used to navigate by. Sincerely, Aurora. Thanks for listening to this episode of Wanderlust. Music for this show is credited down below. If you like this campaign, you can find more of our shows at the Wandering Gamer website or on Podbean. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links in the description. Now bear in mind, in the wilds, some wander to get lost, and some wander to find themselves.